Welcome to Millennials on the Move, and I'm so excited about our guest. I have been supporting him for the longest. Any venture that he has, any event that he has, I'm always there. I shop at his boutiques. So I'm just really excited that we finally get to sit here and have this interview so y'all can know the secrets. You know what I'm saying? Like what it takes to have so many ventures and still be going on strong and having new great ideas. So we have Kevin Hadden.
Yep.
Kevin Hadden. Now, most of you get his last name wrong, and I had to clear the air. It's not Hayden, it's Hadden.
Hadden.
Kevin Hadden.
Yep.
Okay? Hadden. All right, cool. So, what I wanted to just ask before we get into the interview is, tell us about yourself. Like, what do you like to do for fun? What are your hobbies?
Okay. Definitely what I like to do for fun is I like my alone time. That's everything to me. I also like to just not talk about fashion, not talk about any ventures I have going on because that's my personal time,
Okay.
And just relax and chill, read blogs, more so blogs, look at some famous bloggers I like to keep up with, listen to music, of course, random hanging out with my friends, a little bit of partying, not much, but more so just my space, music, reading, catching up on certain things, and enjoying my own time.
Your own time.
Yep.
Which is very important with all the ventures you have. Your entrepreneur journey has been very extensive,
Yeah,
right?
it's
And it
crazy.
started a very long time ago. So can you kind of tell us like what sparked that entrepreneur spirit of yours and just made you, I don't want to do the conventional way?
First and foremost, I would say is growing up, my mom, middle class. I would consider myself middle class. Living check to check. My mom had a great job, worked at the post office for 30 years, retired.
Cool.
But it just didn't seem like enough. I remember as a youth, she would say, she's making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, but I don't know, was it her choices of how she did her money or what, but it didn't seem like much.
Right.
I went plenty of Christmases with nothing, and my mom is making great money.
Right.
So I just didn't get it,
Right.
but yeah, that's just pretty much what it was, like not wanting to live paycheck to paycheck, trying to have a little bit of financial freedom.
Okay. So I think it's really important to understand that some things come from, homegrown, right?
Sure.
I think a lot of us in this generation are kind of noticing our parents' habits, right? So you may be able to decide, okay, this is what I want for myself, or you just continue to do, what you've been seeing, what you've been doing, but he chose to step out of his comfort zone. It's like, what? I feel like I can do a little something to make my situation a little bit better. Although they weren't struggling. They weren't. So it could be generational wealth, you know what I'm saying? And understanding the dollar and investing and saving and things like that. I think a lot of us in the African American community, I have to go there, do lack some type of financial support.
That's a fact.
And literacy, financial literacy.
Yes.
We lack that. So understanding how that goes, I think is very important, that it starts in the home. So I think that is very innovative and very inspiring to see something and just want the total opposite and want something better for yourself.
Sure, because the average story, the cliche story is, I came from nothing.
Yes.
And that's not the case. My life was it was decent, obviously certain things as a child and growing up that I wanted I couldn't get, but overall I had a great life, as coming up as a child. I can't complain.
Right. That's great to hear. So, what is your baby? What is your business at this point in time, or businesses? I'm not sure if you have multiple going on, but kind of tell us exactly what you're doing at this point in time.
Okay, right this very second, I have a clothing storefront by the name of Expensive Fabric. That situation pretty much has my 100% time and effort right this second.
Right.
It's crazy because I'm kind of in the process of opening up a hookah lounge right now.
Oh, cool.
So that's still in the works. It's still, up and down, but
Right.
I'll probably find out something for sure by the end of this week for sure.
So, how do you feel having a storefront? What steps do you take to actually get something open and get an event going, getting it, finalized and things like that?
First off, you have to have a plan. Draw everything out first and foremost. More, like I said, just a plan. You have to speak it into existence. You have to, weigh all your pros and your cons. Think about all the great things that could happen with this venture, event, or business, and think about the, bad things, the financial situations, the permits, you name it. Anything can come up. So it's just a whole lot to, take in and comprehend.
Right.
But, if you can do I feel like I can do anything I put my mind to. So,
right.
The internet is a great resource, books, and very much so me talking to people that's been through storefronts and different situations that I'm putting myself in.
Right.
I like to hear from the horse's mouth, firsthand experience.
Right.
And I just use, like I said, all my resources and just figure out what calculated risk works best for me.
Right. So you've had so many over the years, and what would you say was, I wouldn't say your greatest downfall, but where do you find yourself kind of always running into is there a problem that you always run into? What gets in the way?
Usually politics. It's a lot of little minute things that you can and can't do when it comes to running a business. More so from the city. Like in certain cities, you can't do certain things. Like for example, I was looking like a year and a half ago to open up a hookah lounge or some type of lounge in the particular city of Lauderhill. It's strange because at that particular point in time, the city of Lauderhill had a ban on churches, any nightclubs, lounges, and all of that stuff. So I was hindered from, doing whatever I wanted to do in that city. And that was the city I was aiming for because a lot of my clientele from my previous store lives within that vicinity. I like the city of Lauderhill. I know a lot of the commissioners and mayors and stuff, and a lot of inside people that works with the city hall.
Right.
So, it's small things like politics in certain situations that what the city don't allow, in certain situations that can hinder, that has discouraged me from doing certain stuff. Licenses, like liquor licenses, all type of stuff. I could go on for days.
Oh, so what do you do when you get stuck? Like, how do you get out of that funk? Because I know when you have an idea, it's a great idea. You can put it to paper. You've done it before, and let's just say no. Like, how do you come back from that?
Man, it's very discouraging. Just kind of piggyback off that to speak on the situation that happened this year with the expensive fabric brand. In late February, March, I had signed a lease for a storefront in the city of Oakland Park. Unfortunately, the landlord wouldn't honor my lease. He didn't want to make minor fixes for the space. And yeah, I was supposed to have been open. Actually, approach should have been open a year now, but due to certain things like that, I was discouraged, and right after went 2 months, 3 months without, the landlord wanting to cooperate. So I had no choice but to just fall back, get my money back, and I was honestly discouraged. Like, man, this store thing ain't gonna happen. Whatever, if something else falls in my lap, a hookah lounge or whatever, so be it.
Right.
Like I said, months prior, I was already discouraged from the city of Lauderhill. They had a ban on it, almost everything. I literally signed a lease with this guy. He wouldn't cooperate with me moving forward, wouldn't give me a key, anything. So, I was like, it's whatever. I'm going to just try to do something online maybe.
So do you feel like it has anything to do with your ethnicity? Do you ever feel, because I know that we always say it's always a black thing, black people always make it a black, but do you feel like it has anything to do with your clientele and the people that you are going to be inviting into your space? Do you think it has anything to do with it?
Very much so. To speak on that landlord that wouldn't give me a key after, I could have took him to court. Once a lease is signed, he's supposed to honor it.
Right.
Or I sue him and it could have got bad.
Right.
But, my first encounter with him, because I didn't deal with him directly, I dealt with my realtor. So after my realtor did the deal, money paid, everything, the landlord was just literally supposed to give me the key and fix one or two things he was supposed to fix. And we communicated. I met him at the spot to get the key this one particular night, and he saw me. I was dressed, you know, in some gym shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh, okay.
And he immediately profiled me. He told me literally, you cannot afford this spot.
Oh.
You don't belong here.
Wow.
No lie. I had my partner Steve with me. Just like that, told me to my face. He said, literally, the police watches this plaza. He told me that. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything?
Wow.
Yeah.
So, wow. Running into things like that, I can just only imagine in that moment, you've done so many things. He doesn't know. He has no idea who you are in Broward County as far as the things you've done, the events you put on. He has no idea. And so what was that feeling like?
I mean, when I encountered him on the spot and I asked him, like, in regards to that particular lease, I'm surprised he didn't ask for, like, some type of financial security. Usually when you're filling out something, sometimes they'll want to see work history or work background, sometimes even bank statements.
Right.
He didn't ask for none of that. He just asked for, give me my first, last, or whatever the deal was, and we gave him that, and he saw me and didn't want to cooperate. So it was just bad.
Oh man.
It was just terrible, but I mean, I had to do what I had to do. I had to keep persevering and move on.
Right.
So, I was discouraged for sure. And it takes a lot for me to get discouraged. But knowing, that's not the first time I've been profiled.
Right.
And like you said, quote unquote, he don't know who I am.
Right.
I don't walk around wearing my accolades and stuff I've done.
Right.
On my forehead. So, as long as his rent got paid, that's all that should have mattered.
Exactly. Right.
It is what it is.
Right. So adversity is a very huge thing, I think, that a lot of entrepreneurs face. Sometimes it is racial profiling, sometimes it's licensing, sometimes people just don't want to cooperate, sometimes people aren't professional. But I think the greatest accomplishment that I've seen thus far is that you keep going. Like, I feel like I've never saw you stop at a point, and if it was stopping, you were all coming soon. Yeah. Like, you were always, you know what I'm saying, like keeping everybody in the now and up to date with what you have going on, because this is in you. I don't see you going back to a 9 to 5. I don't see that happening, and I think that's inspiring. I think for all, and it kind of ignites you. It's like, you know what, this dude been doing this for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like everyone should be at a point where, if they have an idea and if they just do everything they're supposed to do, then everything will work out.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I have a great team around me. President Obama, when he was in chair, he couldn't run the country by himself. And,
right.
That goes to show you I can't. I'm stretched in 100 different ways every day.
Right.
Like I said, kudos to my team.
Right.
They helped me out a lot. Without them, there's no me. That's on God.
Shout out to the team.
For sure.
So we talked about your challenges. So what do you feel like is the one major accomplishment you feel like you've had thus far, the whole entire, however many years you've been doing? How many years have you been doing this?
I've been doing, like, between parties and store and random stuff, maybe for, I would say 9 years. Yes. I want to give it about 9.
Yes. I was gonna say 10.
At least, give or take almost a decade.
So all of the events you put on for the past 9 years, and storefronts and online boutiques, what do you think has been an accomplishment? Throughout your whole entrepreneur journey.
I would say Rooftop Sundays.
It was lit.
I was only a part of it before I stepped away. Maybe a year and some change in. It was great to see, my fellow partners, 2K, go on to eventually buy that club.
Right.
And do all their other ventures. So, I would say between Rooftop and Overvibe, more so probably Rooftop, because, 2K was able to flourish from that. They was able to purchase a venue and do a number of other things from the start of that event.
Right.
So, I would say Rooftop Sundays.
So doing deals with different people, how do you deal with business deals when people want to partner with you?
I mean, first and foremost, it just has to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'll work with anybody,
Right.
as long as it makes sense. It doesn't matter how much you can bring to the table. You know, that doesn't matter in all aspects. It's just as long as it makes sense. Financial sense, whatever we're doing, we would have to obviously sit down and meet.
Right.
And figure out my strengths and weaknesses in this situation and yours.
Right.
You know, sometimes it's okay. I know my strengths. I know what I can bring to the table. And if you can't, that's fine.
Right.
It would just take that person to admit that. And then if they can admit it, that's step one to moving forward.
Right, right.
And then we could go from there. Like, you know, I'm weak in a bunch of areas that, for example, my partners, you know, are strong in. In that same situation, as long as it makes sense, like I said, it doesn't always have to be financial.
Right.
But just as long as everything aligns. That's all that matters to me. I work with anybody. You could never throw me even ever. Let's figure it out. You got an idea? Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Keep that in mind.
For sure.
Okay. So, you know, we talked about challenges. So what I want to get a little personal.
No problem.
Is there a specific thing that stops you, just your mindset, like anything that stops you from going forward, like that you're working on or that you have worked on and you found a solution to that problem?
That's a great question. I would say, yeah, it would always be mindset. You know, my mindset is that, you know, I pride myself on anything man can do, I can do. You know, I'm not big in regards to religion, but I believe if you know, put out great energy, speak what you want into existence, everything will come to pass. So back to your question, I'd probably say I feel like I always tweet it every now and then. I feel invincible. I feel unstoppable, you know, and I really believe that. Anything I want, I can put my mind to, I'm going to accomplish it, which, you know, for the most part, my track record shows that.
Right.
You know, the only thing I haven't accomplished thus far that I've spoken out is purchasing a Wraith. But
No.
that's soon to come. That's materialistic stuff. But
Right.
I mean, other than that, yeah.
So you don't have a inner struggle, like?
No inner struggle.
What?
Zero.
Have you had one before? Ever?
No, I'll probably say my struggles usually are always, in my opinion, on the outside, like maybe a relationship with a friend or family or a girl or something like that.
Right.
But myself, like I'm on go, 100%. Like,
okay.
yeah, I'm always motivated. Like, you know, I'm not motivated by the average stuff. Like, and I respect social media nowadays because I know the average person looks up to, you know, celebrities. I probably follow, as I always state this to my friends and my family, I only follow maybe 2 or 3 celebrities. Like, I'm not inspired by them.
Yeah.
Majority of them are inspired by us.
True.
You know, a lot of their style, clothing-wise, comes from a regular person behind the scene. And I could go on and on about that, but I'm inspired by my own peers versus celebrities.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds
I'd
sweet.
rather follow you than, you know, not to take anything from her, but a Karen Civil, you know?
Right.
You can definitely catch her and surpass her. That's my thing.
Ooh. Okay, so you know what?
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you. You
You're
know,
welcome, for
support.
For sure.
And you know, is there anything that you live by that we can leave the people with, like something inspiring that keeps you? I know you said you're self-motivated,
Yeah, for sure.
but also putting great energy and you receiving it back. That's very
For sure,
important.
for sure.
But if there's something specific your mom ever told you, or someone ever said, or a quote you live by that you could just leave with the people for inspiration.
The quote I live by is "Work harder than who works the hardest."
Ooh, that's good.
You know, that's something I live by. For example, I was at Japan in like maybe a month or 2
Oh
ago.
my gosh, my best friend loves that place.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
I love the happy hour. Oh my god. So I was there during happy hour, and I met, casually talking to the bartender there. Come to find out, this bartender works for Pizza Hut during the day. He leaves Pizza Hut and comes to Japan Inn and bartends till 11 o'clock midnight and does the same thing over and over. Our conversation got more personal. I'm like, where's your wife? Do you have kids? He has kids, wife, all of that. On top of having 3 pizza shops that he owns out of the country.
Wow.
So my first time meeting him, it was him literally with the iPad watching his cameras in his country of his shops opening up. He literally gave me the iPad and was like, look at my stores. This, morning time over there. That's my manager opening it up. And I'm like, bro, why are you here?
Right.
He was like, bro, I love to work. I'm hungry and I want more. I'm like, how long have your shops been open? He was like, a year. He's opened 3 pizza shops in a year.
Wow, that must be some dope pizza. And I love pizza.
Gotta be. So, just something like that. And that was just so random, me being there and seeing a guy that doesn't need Pizza Hut, doesn't need Japan in, still putting in work.
Right.
For whatever reason.
For whatever reason, right.
I'm inspired by that. I don't need to see a Beyonce or Jay-Z to get inspired. I'm inspired off. I just crossed this path randomly, and that made me go hard. Every time somebody asks me this question of what, I bring up Joe. This man is working multiple jobs, owns shops. He's still getting up, not complaining, and doing what he got to do.
Wow.
I need to get like that.
We all need to get like that.
For sure.
So it's been a great interview with you, and I'm so
Thank you.
excited that we can finally put all of this on camera, and that you guys can see and know what his last name is. It's been such a controversial thing. Oh my gosh, now you know.
Sure.
So I'm just so glad, and I'm so excited for your future. And I know, I have no doubts that you're going to stop. I have no doubts that you're not going to get everything you want, because that's all we've been seeing this whole time. And I will continue to support you. And thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Anytime. Call me if you need me. Thank you guys for tuning in.
And if you guys want any of his information, he's going to leave a clip with all of his emails, all of his times that his stores are open. He's going to have everything. Just wait to the end and you can get all his information so you can contact him. So see you guys at the next interview.
Hey, I'm Kevin Hadden. I can be found on Instagram at Kevin Hadden. I can be also found on Facebook at Kevin Hadden as well. The Expensive Fabric Instagram is at Expensive Fabric Brand. Also follow us on Facebook as well at Expensive Fabric Vintage Boutique. Thank you.